This is Michael DeGioia with DAS Trader, and this is our #1 best trader fall swing trading competition week 1 review and the DAS Trader newsroom. Big thanks to everybody who's joining us here on the live stream. My name is Michael DeGioia. I'm the Director of Educational Services and a licensed professional, and I work here with DAS. So great to be here with you. I'm going to start off real quick by going through some of the news. Obviously, we've had a very topsy-turvy, volatile market this month. So far, the September jobs numbers came out and has dropped to 3.5%. That is our unemployment number for the country. Now, in this bizarro world, sometimes good news that unemployment is dropping is actually interpreted as bad news, as 263,000 new jobs were created. And what this says to the market is that potentially the economy can handle higher interest rates. So if the economy can handle higher interest rates, maybe on the November 2nd next meeting of the Federal Reserve, the last meeting of the year, the Federal Reserve might be encouraged by these very positive employment numbers to increase the interest rate or the federal funds rate by 1 basis point, 100 basis points. That's 1 whole percentage point, which is why in this case, this is bad for the markets because the markets like low interest rates. So if the job numbers are better and interpreted it as better than expected, that might encourage the Fed to be more aggressive or more hawkish in terms of raising interest rates aggressively to slow down this very, very robust economy. Also, obviously, there's been a drop in the oil and natural gas recently, although it is expected to start to rise again. So with oil and gas prices dropping, that has kind of spurred on the economy. And with the economy, kind of accelerating, we have this situation where that, possibly that might slow down the economy once the prices of oil and gas start to increase again. So we'll see how that pans out going into what is expected to be a very cold winter in the Northeast, and certainly is already a colder than expected, fall for most of Europe and specifically Northern Europe. In other news, Elon Musk has kind of reinitiated his offer to buy Twitter. How did all this come to be? I mean, there was a lawsuit filed against him because of some of the wording that he used as an offer in his offer. Initially, they took him to court, and then obviously he watched the markets kind of bottom out for most of the social media companies. And then now, assuming that it's probably a risk reward, that it's probably not such a bad deal to buy Twitter at his original offer price. Now, he put in a request to delay the purchase, but that was flatly rejected by the Twitter board today. And again, now we'll see when the actual offer and bid to buy Twitter goes through. But, obviously, this is something that's being updated day in and day out. It's developing as I speak to you here. And certainly we've seen this already have a number of twists and turns as time has gone on. So we will continue to monitor this situation with Elon Musk and his bid to buy Twitter. And then finally, obviously, we have certainly heard, I read an article today that stated that this is I think it was from the UK Daily News, that this is the highest risk of nuclear conflict since the Cuban Missile Crisis, that the chance of a nuclear conflict has risen to the highest levels since, I think it was the Daily Mail, since the Cuban Missile Crisis. So we have tons of geopolitical concerns. And obviously the war in Ukraine continues to rage on. It started in February. So we've got February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, now into October. So we have had this multiple months. I mean, this is now going on 9 months of conflict in the Ukraine. And this latest turn of events has the, kind of the Ukrainians battling the Russians back somewhat, which actually could increase the chances of a nuclear conflict. And that certainly isn't good for the markets. Any kind of uncertainty is certainly not good for the markets. And then on top of that, we have the upcoming midterm elections, and how will that affect the markets as well. So we have a number of reasons. We have an election in Brazil that also, kind of has seems to be going in the direction of the socialist candidate Lula. That also has an effect on some of the energy prices, because Brazil is one of the BRIC countries. It is a large energy producer, and certainly Lula, being a socialist, might be inclined to further strengthen his relationship with the other BRIC countries, namely Russia and specifically China. So you have a lot of geopolitical concerns also weighing on the markets, as well as the political concerns related to the upcoming midterm election. It seems like the election has narrowed a little bit, and certainly that's beneficial for the Democrats, but it still seems to be tilted in the direction of a Republican win for the House of Representatives, and probably a win in the Senate, but with the odds of that win being by big margins, a lot less likely, or potentially not even a win for the Republicans in the Senate, because that has been mentioned as well. So we will continue to monitor this as it gets closer to the midterm election, which is, I believe it's on November 6th this year. I'm just going to double check that. So we got the elections this year we have, I think it's November 8th is the actual midterm election this year. It's November 8th is election day. It is the first Tuesday in the month of November. So we got a lot of concerns as it comes, comes through to the markets, that we have political uncertainty, we have geopolitical uncertainty, and we have it in a number of fronts. We also have always the potential of a conflict between China and Taiwan, which certainly may have been reduced slightly. There is an election in China, but God knows that that's probably not a fair election. And the current premier of China is expected to win as usual. So there's a lot of geopolitical concerns out there. There's political concerns out there in the United States. And then certainly this month, we also had a massive storm, Ian, in Florida that certainly did a lot of damage to places like Fort Myers. So certainly all of these things are weighing in on the markets, and usually some kind of a very costly economic event like a hurricane has weighed on the markets previously in other years. So with all that being said, we're going to jump to some fun stuff, because obviously that was a lot of possible negative information. But let's jump to our number one best trader competition and talk about our first week of competition, which was October 3rd to October 7th. And remember, this time is a swing trading competition. So we have our number one best trader, Best 1023 from the Global Bolsa Group. That's our good friend Roberto and his group down in Peru, with today's gains being $1,728.84, bringing a grand total of $6,341.07 for Best 1023. We have number two, Best 1015, who is part of one of DAS's direct referrals, which is who was up $946, a pretty hefty daily gain, bringing their total competition gains to $3,620.85. We have our third place, Best 984, also from DAS, with $159.14 today, but a weekly and competition total of $3,537.24. So we have 1, 2, and 3. But as you well know, this is anybody's competition. It is the first week of the competition. It was certainly a topsy-turvy, very volatile week in the markets. We started off the week somewhat flat. Then we had a massive 2-day rally to the upside, and then a kind of flat day, and then subsequently a big sell-off day today, kind of bringing things almost back to parity, but certainly slightly higher than it was at the beginning of the week. But we have to see if this sell-off continues into next week. And speaking of the stocks that we will be looking at today, we have a number of stocks that are of interest, and we have Lucy, LUCY, as our most active stock. Not surprisingly, a low price stock at $2.52. Was traded 373,000 shares, 276 were traded today. We have Tops, shipping, Top Ships, traded 73,414, 12 shares. That's a $7 stock. And then we have GGE, 54,450 shares traded today. Another low price stock, $1.64. And then we have, rounding off our top four, is Adtx, 34,600 shares, trading at $3.70. And then our most expensive, DKNG, which is Draftkings, rounding off our top five active stocks for the day at $16.54. Most expensive stock of the top five, with 12,000 shares traded today. And then we have obviously number 6, which is NEO, which is an old standby. It's a very, very actively traded stock. We've seen it many times. Some other notable stocks of interest is NVIDIA. We know NVIDIA pops up on this list all the time. We have Citigroup with 1,200 shares, Apple with 1,134 shares, TZA, which is an ETF that is also actively traded. TSM and AMD are also. Twitter, of course, is up there with 500 shares on the bottom of the most actively traded symbols list. But certainly these are stocks that we've seen in many competitions in the past. So with all those being said, I'm going to take a look at some of these charts. I'm going to bring up my Dash Trader software. I'm going to take a look at these charts, and we'll see some notable patterns that I'm sure we have all seen before, as it seems that these low price stocks, we call them poppers and droppers, are some of the most commonly traded stocks in the number one best trader competition. So with this all being said, let's take a look at Lucy first, LUCY. And I'm going to take a look at this on my daily chart, and I'm going to pop this up to the full size screen. So like Lucy is exactly what I said. It is a popper and dropper, meaning that it popped up here, ran up to as high as $3.60. I'm going to take a look at this on a 15-minute intraday chart. So it popped up, ran up a little bit, and then sold off pretty much the rest of the day. But I'm sure that initial momentum run and potentially a short at the end of the day, I'm not sure if this was shortable, but certainly that was a stock that was a popper and dropper. TOPS, number 2 on our active stocks for the day, has been in play all week. So it started off the week with a colossal run up from around $3, running all the way to about $4.50, $5, even got higher than that, up to $6 at one point. That was on Tuesday. On Wednesday, it made a colossal run up to $11, and then it's pretty much settled in since then. But certainly people are still trading it. It is probably one of the most active stocks traded all week long. And we can see that obviously on the daily chart as well, that you can see that this is a popper and a dropper. It is forming a little bit of a bull pennant, so it's probably going to be in play next week as well. It's got a very heavy spike in trading volume. Now, this was a company that just a few months ago was $32 a share, so it's trading way off its highs. I mean, you're talking a stock that was $31 a share, now trading in the 7s, but was as low as $2, so that's a colossal run. Next one was GGE. GGE, which is also somewhat off its high from a percentage perspective, was as high as $3.80 at the beginning of the year, but has since come in down to 70 cents at the low, put in a double bottom. So you can see a very clearly defined double bottom. And then after it washed out into that double bottom just on Tuesday, it made a colossal reversal off those lows and rallied all the way up to 280 at the high. And then if we take a look at our intraday chart, you could see that we did a really colossal pullback and sell off today. So it really gave up most of its gains going into the close here today. And I'm just bringing something up here. Let me see this. Hold on one second. Okay, so next one is ADTX. ADTX. So again, so far we're 3 for 3s on low volume poppers and droppers. We have Adtx. We have a daily chart that's really not so interesting. It's, made a little, little move up off of its lows, but it was a company that was trading at $28, now trading at $4, approximately, with a low of 369 coming near the close of the day. The pop was today. It popped up on a gap, and then it's pretty much dropped all day. It did make a little bit of an initial run, but certainly not the most active stock in the world. It was our number 4 on our list. Let's take a look at Draftkings. So Draftkings, DKNG. Draftkings, in play all week this week. It basically gapped and broke out to the upside today. It gapped and ran today, and earlier this week, rather, Tuesday, and it's forming a bull pennant type formation. So this is DKNG. This is Draftkings, and it is a online sports kind of sports betting company. And they gapped up out of a formation that is off of the daily lows. Now, again, this is another company that was trading at $21 at not so long ago. At the beginning of the year, at the beginning of my chart, rather, at the beginning of the year, we were at $29. So, this is way off of its highs, and now it's trading here, but it made a big move off of $14.50, and it's back up into the $16, $17 area. So you can see a very clear pattern of the stocks that are being traded by our number 1 best trader competition contestants. Let's take a look here at the QQQ. QQQ is basically potentially breaking a double bottom low. Okay, so here's a double bottom low that's potentially breaking to the downside. And we could potentially gap down on Monday. We could also gap up. This would be an area that you could potentially form a triple bottom. We did not close below the lows, but we are certainly closing near the lows. Really, I think the gap on Monday is going to say it all. Wherever this gaps on Monday is really, if it gaps below that low, look out below. If it gaps up, then we might get a reversal or triple bottom. So everything really relies on the gap on Monday. And this is on the QQQ. On the SPY, same situation, basically. It's a little less bearish than the QQQ. But I would also point out that Apple, which led the market up, just like I indicated, would probably be leading the market to the downside. So we have a lot going on. MSFT, another one, very, very bearish. Microsoft making up a huge percentage of the NASDAQ, as well as Apple making up a huge percentage of the NASDAQ. So with Apple and Microsoft going down, let's take a look at Amazon, AMCN. With them all going down, moving to the downside. These are the key tech stocks that have led the rally. So it's really hard for the market to go up when these stocks are going down. Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook is holding up fairly well, but it's way down off its highs for the year. TWTR, is really the one that's bucking the trend with the whole Elon Musk purchase. His bid to buy the company has really kept the company afloat, and it has not participated much in this sell-off, as he's looking to buy the company at $54 a share, which is really a great offer, and he's held up the price of Twitter. It's probably not a good deal for him, which is probably why he wanted to delay it or cancel it. But needless to say, it has held Twitter's price up there. Now, I would say USO is looking very good. Like, we're going to get a rally in oil, UNG. We're going to probably get a rally in natural gas. So both oil and natural gas are looking to probably go higher. So I would keep an eye on them. DBA, food prices are probably going to be going up. So I would also keep an eye on this agricultural ETF. So with all that being said, I'm going to transfer my screen share back to my presentation and wrap this up for our week 1 number 1 best trader competition wrap up. Just to review, okay, review your strategy. What have you been doing that has made you successful? Have you made any trading mistakes? If they are, what are they? If so, what have you learned thus far in relation to the competition? Some reminders, overnights are allowed this competition, so you can hold overnights. This is a swing trading as well as a day trading competition. So, one of the things we just recently had was the tour of the NASDAQ, and a number of people were like, oh, I didn't join because it's a swing trading competition and I don't swing trade. No, this is a day trading and swing trading competition. So if you have not traded yet, be sure to start trading by Friday next week, 10/14. Otherwise, you will be disqualified from the competition. So you do have to participate in trading to be part of the competition. You just can't wait till the last few days to make some trades. So we want you to start trading so you don't get disqualified. So this is the fall swing and day trading competition. Competition runs till October 28th. Visit onebesttrader.com for more information. Follow us on social media at OneBestTrader. That's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you have any additional comments or things that you'd like to see in our competition recaps, certainly, or DAS news streams related to our newsroom, email us at info@onebesttrader.com. You can also email me directly at mike@dastrader.com. Thank you, everybody. I will see you next week. Trade well, everybody, and good luck in the competition.